All right, the time has come. It is almost here. We are less than 5 hours away from kickoff, where the Baltimore Ravens go to Arrowhead to face the two-time defending champion Kansas City Chiefs. And I am pretty sure, like most of you all, I cannot wait. Time is not going by fast enough so we can begin the NFL season and see what this iteration of the Baltimore Ravens look like. And in talking about the Ravens, we have two questions. What is on the line for Lamar Jackson going into tonight's game, and who is this game more important to? Is it more important that the Baltimore Ravens win this game, or is it more important for the Kansas City Chiefs going into their quest for a third straight NFL championship? Now, before we look into this game, let's talk about the previous matchups that the Ravens had with the Chiefs. With the Lamar-led Ravens, the Baltimore Ravens unfortunately are 1-4 versus the Chiefs. This team seems to be the only hurdle that the Ravens just do not seem to be able to get over. And looking into the coaching staff, John Harbaugh is 12-4 in opening day games, where Andy Reid is 9-2. Before losing last season to the Detroit Lions, the Chiefs had won 8 straight opening day games. Now, Lamar Jackson is 4-1 in the first game of the season. But more importantly, Andy Reid versus his disciples, he just seems to own them, with none of them seeming to be able to win a game versus him during the playoffs. So the Ravens winning this game could be a step towards building their confidence. And some say that Lamar has to win this game. The Ravens have to beat the Chiefs this time to get that monkey off their back, to build a psychological edge to let them know that they can beat this team. Because if they lose to them tonight, will that shake the foundation of the team's belief that they can actually beat Patrick Mahomes? Now, they say that we are living in the Patrick Mahomes era, which I can't disagree with, because regardless if the Chiefs are good, regardless if they're bad, if they have discernible weaknesses, they seem to still win titles. And me personally, I believe if the Ravens actually lose this game, it will do nothing to shake Lamar's confidence, but as a team, as a coaching staff, what will it do for them psychologically? Because undoubtedly we all believe that Kansas City is going to make it to the playoffs, and we also believe that the Baltimore Ravens are going to make it there. So for the Ravens to actually get over that hump and make it to a Super Bowl, they will inevitably have to face the Kansas City Chiefs. We cannot expect for other teams in the conference to take out the Chiefs. We have to do it ourselves. Like they say, if you want to be the man, you have to beat the man. And that's what the Ravens are intending to do. Now, if they do lose this game, it is just the first game of 17. It does not mean that the season is over. It does not mean that things are a failure. But starting off 1-0 would give the Ravens the tiebreaker if they finish with the same record and had to meet in the playoffs, and possibly grant the Ravens the higher seed. Even though throughout the past few seasons, the Ravens playing at home is not a gimme for them winning in the playoffs. But I do think that when you hold a sizable advantage over a team psychologically, it does stuff like they did in the playoffs last year when they came in and messed with Justin Tucker. They took the Ravens out of the game before the game even started. So for me to beat you 5 out of 6 times, yes, I'm gonna carry a certain swag about myself. I'm gonna mention things to you when I pass by you to kind of shake your confidence and maybe have you thinking about other things other than winning this game. So I do believe that the Ravens need to come out with a victory tonight, which most of us don't think that they will, but anything is possible. This is the NFL. It is a week-to-week league. And as far as what may be on the line, it is just Lamar's legacy. They believe that there is only one man that can compete with Patrick Mahomes, that being Joe Burrow, because he has won a couple straight over him and he has defeated him in the playoffs on his way to a Super Bowl. So if Lamar wants to start being mentioned in that breath and that vein, he has to take out Patrick Mahomes. And for me, it would be no better time than right now, when the Chiefs are at full strength, while Patrick Mahomes has a plethora of new toys to play with. Now, this offense is not the offense that it was last year. It's supposed to be more explosive. They have players now that can take the top off of the defense, whose hands are surer than the ones that preceded them. So for all intents and purposes, Lamar Jackson doesn't technically need to win this game, but it would sure help, especially with the Ravens during the first 5 weeks of the season. They have some pretty tough games. This season is not going to be a cakewalk. They have a first place schedule, being that they won the AFC North last year, and every win counts. Every win gets us closer to the goal of making the playoffs. Lamar Jackson said it himself. We can't worry about getting to a Super Bowl. We have to worry about getting to the playoffs, which is not a gimme. We all believe that the Ravens and Lamar Jackson are good enough to make the playoffs, but it starts with winning that first game, or winning their first game, shall I say. Not necessarily the first one that they play in. So this could be a building block, a stepping stone into getting the Ravens to where we all know that they can go. It's just about climbing that mountain, taking that edge off, and building a belief in the building that you can take the baddest man on the planet and take him down, especially with the whole world watching. This is the first game of the season. This is the only game that is going to be seen tonight. So the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson are going to put everything on display. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 5 key matchups that I believe will dictate or determine what's going to happen in the game. The first matchup is newly acquired Derrick Henry going up against the Kansas City defense. The Kansas City defense was its strength last season and is predominantly the reason that they actually won the Super Bowl. Now, we don't know what we're going to get out of Derrick Henry. We're hoping to get another 1,000-yard, 10-touchdown season. We all believe that he is going to be the King Henry of old. We just do not know yet. We won't know until we see it, because during the preseason, John Harbaugh does not like to play his starters. But with the Tennessee Titans and a more of an inferior roster, Derrick Henry has owned the Kansas City Chiefs. They just cannot seem to stop him. And we shall hope that this trend will continue tonight. The second matchup that we're going to look at is the offensive line versus Chris Jones. This is a tall task for an offensive line that could possibly have 3 starters with no or virtually little NFL starting experience. Chris Jones is a game wrecker in itself, and especially with him having 10.5 sacks to go along with George Karlaftis, both of those guys, it may be an issue. So tonight we're going to see what this offensive line can do, especially having the starting 5 played together for the very first time. The next matchup is one we may see, we may not see, but it is going to be speed upon speed upon speed, and that is Nate Wiggins going up against Xavier Worthy. These two were the only 2 people at the NFL Combine to run a sub 4.340. Nate Wiggins running a 4.28 and Xavier Worthy running an NFL Combine record 4.21. You know that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to send Xavier Worthy deep, and we're going to need Wiggins to match up and stay with him step for step all game long, because you never know when Patrick Mahomes is going to launch it deep. So this matchup of 2 first-round picks may be very pivotal to this game. The next matchup is going to be Kyle Hamilton versus Travis Kelce. Yes, that Travis Kelce who talks a lot of smack, but he backs it up. Last season, during the playoffs in the AFC Championship game, Kelce had 11 catches for 116 yards and a touchdown. 1 touchdown that was given up by Kyle Hamilton. And I know he's been thinking about this all offseason, and he is ready to give some payback. I'm sure all of his offseason training, every time he does a rep, he's thinking about Kelce like, yeah, I'm going to get him next time. And listen, Kyle Hamilton was only in his 2nd season, and he's going to do nothing but get better. So this matchup, being that Kelce is Patrick Mahomes' favorite target, may be the most important matchup of all, except for the matchup at number 1, which is Lamar Jackson versus Patrick Mahomes. Now, we don't need Lamar to match Patrick pass for pass, yard for yard. We do need Lamar to be dynamic, make smart plays, and do what he does. Just be the most electrifying player in the NFL. Now, during the AFC Championship game last year, even though a lot of people like to say they put the team on Lamar's back and he just couldn't get it done, Lamar Jackson did outpass Patrick Mahomes, and they both threw 1 touchdown apiece. The only difference in that game happened to be the turnovers. So if the Ravens defense can hold Patrick Mahomes down like they did last season, hold this Kansas City Chiefs to another 17 points or less, the team should be in good shape. We just need Lamar to be him. We don't need him to try to throw the ball over the field. We don't need him to prove to anybody he is a pocket passer. We just need Lamar to take what the defense gives them. And if he does, I do believe undoubtedly that the Ravens are going to blow out the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, of course, this is all a lot easier said than it is done, but it is possible. The only difference that I really see in these 2 teams is Andy Reid. He allows his starters to play a little bit in the preseason to kind of get that cohesion down. John Harbaugh, for fear of injury, does not. So we don't know collectively what this offense looks like as a whole. And if they can shake off the rust and come together as a team, I don't think there is any team in the NFL that can actually stop them. The only team that can beat the Baltimore Ravens is the Baltimore Ravens. It's time for me to get back to work, so I guess I will see y'all after the game.
Nah, man, I'm cool.